Before we get started, just a quick note, spoiler alert.
And we are adults, and I will try very hard not to use adult language, but this is the warning.
Welcome to Fright Bites, a mini episode where we talk about our Stephen King experience. Well, I'm not talking about it. Sadina will be talking about it. My name is Jennifer.
And I'm Sadina. We're a horror review and discussion podcast where we talk about horror in books, movies, and other formats, why we seek it out, and why we need it in our lives.
So, you heard me say Fright Bite. You're probably wondering, what the heck is a Fright Bite? It's our way of introducing something small now that we plan on making bigger in October because it's the high holy season for all of us, the spooky season. So, Fright Bites will be mini episodes. We're going to cover different books
This year,
all throughout October. So that means every day in October, 31 days, you'll get 31 days of horror Fright Bites from yours truly, Sadina and myself.
Yes, and this year we're going to do novellas or short fiction, which sounded like a brilliant idea until we were reading 31 times 200 pages, and then it was like, cool.
We bite off more than we can chew, obviously.
All the time.
But
today's Fright Bite is a little special, as we we absolutely talked about it being a surprise. Wow, we're terrible at surprises.
We're so bad at surprises.
So we are going to talk about the Stanley Hotel.
Yes.
And the reason we are going to talk about the Stanley Hotel is that I had a wedding in the family that I attended. They were married at the Stanley Hotel, and the wedding was an event. There were 4 days that we were officially there for the wedding, did many things, including ghost tours. Not many of the family actually stayed in the hotel. I believe that me and our friend M were the only ones.
Of course you were the only. Wait, the bride and the groom didn't stay there?
No. So, like, at the back of the property, there's these massive residences.
Yeah.
Like, massive. And that was where most of the wedding party and guests stayed. And in the front of the property, there's this thing called the Aspire. So, like, everybody was either in the Aspire, the lodges, or the residences.
Oh, I thought for sure that they stayed in the Stanley Hotel, too. I don't know why I didn't.
Well, no, because I think primarily because there's no AC.
Oh, okay.
The original building of the Stanley Hotel has no AC.
Okay, yeah, I wouldn't stay there.
I mean, it wasn't bad. Me and him lucked up. We got a corner room. So, like, with both windows completely open at night, there was a beautiful breeze.
Okay.
It was really nice. Also, it really didn't get that hot, so, like...
Right, yeah. I mean, Colorado, yeah.
Right.
So, for y'all that don't know, the Stanley Hotel was the inspiration behind The Shining. In The Shining, I think it's called The Overlook.
Also, Dumb and Dumber was filmed there.
What?
Yeah, girl, I got a story about Dumb and Dumber and Jim Carrey.
Okay, I didn't know that. But, I only watched Dumb and Dumber once, so...
Yeah, I think they call it the Danbury Hotel, but it's the Stanley.
Okay.
So, the Stanley Hotel was officially finished on July 4th in 1909 by F.O. Stanley. He intended for it to be a getaway, a mountain getaway for his East Coast Richie Rich people, which I think is part of the reason why so many of the rooms are chopped up the way they are, because these rooms were initially just massive. He also bought the land from a Lord Dunraven of Ireland who abused the Homestead Act and has become kind of the local villain of Estes Park. He basically found all this beautiful land that wasn't owned by anybody, but you can't buy the land unless it's owned. And so the Homestead Act was his workaround. So he went into the town, found a bunch of ne'er-do-wells, and had them squat on the property and then paid them for it.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, and got all of Estes Park for like a steal.
Wow.
So he's a bit of a villain.
Wow, what a scam artist.
Right?
Oh my god.
And then F.O. Stanley bought that land from him.
What?
Yes. And apparently Dunraven haunts the Stanley Hotel. He has his own room.
Well, of course. I mean, look at how he got it.
Right. And apparently he's a butt pincher. Like, he's a skirt chaser, so... It's not
That's
great.
gross. That's rude, sir.
Also, his room is right next to the bell tower, the cupola.
Yeah.
Where, like, the bell was, and apparently the kids... So, whenever the rich friends would come and stay, the kids just had the run of the 4th floor.
Of course.
Because, out of sight, out of mind for children back then. And they would just ring the bell in the middle of the night and disturb the entire town of Estes Park. So, Estes Park forced the hotel to remove the bell. Which, like, fair.
Yeah. That's what you get for leaving the kids to do on their own, okay?
Right? Damn, just parent your kids, y'all.
Yes. It's hard, but it's doable.
Also, at least they're not waking up the whole frickin' town with a bell.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is sort of the origin of the hotel.
Yeah.
The experiences, so there's two major experiences I want to talk about. The inspiration for Stephen King. He was on vacation with his wife. Their son was back home somewhere, I guess in Maine, likely. I don't know.
Yeah.
And he didn't have a haunting experiences per se, but he had such a violent and terrifying dream about his son being tortured by the hotel that he had to go out after he woke up to go make sure his son wasn't actually being tortured, even though he knew his son wasn't there. But he stayed in room 217, which is where one of the first ghosts resides. So her name was Elizabeth. She was a maid, a cleaner of the hotel, and each person had their own area that they were responsible for. And this woman was dedicated to her job. So even though the Stanley Hotel was all electric and very modern, because F.O. Stanley wanted it to be all very modern, they still had a backup gas line for if the power went out, which from what I heard happens fairly regularly because it's snowstorms.
Right, yeah.
So during one of these snowstorms, they emptied out the hotel of the guests and put them all in the concert hall for entertainment while everybody went through and lit their area with the candles for the gas backup line. Well, Elizabeth went to room 217, or where that was, because it was much bigger, and she didn't realize there was a gas leak.
Oh.
And she opened up the door and it exploded. And the whole side of that hotel fell in on her. She went through to the first floor and she lived.
Oh my god.
Well, she lived because of her whalebone corset.
Oh my god.
Prevented her back from breaking.
Wow. A torture device helped save her life.
I know.
Wow.
So even though half of the hotel fell in on her, she went to the hospital and recovered. And then went back to work there for like 40 more years.
Oh my, she's so dedicated.
Right? So she passed away at her home. And then was at work the next day. And was like saying hi to people, cleaning up the rooms.
Oh my god.
And they found her body at home and were like, okay.
Yeah, alrighty then.
I love my job. I would never go back if I died.
I mean, same. Listen, if I die, I mean, when I die, if I come back, I will not be at the library. I will be on a beach somewhere.
Right. Which is also what they think is happening at the Stanley. They think that all the friends are coming back to the Stanley because it's where they have the most fun.
Ooh.
So it's not necessarily people who died there like Elizabeth.
Yeah.
It's people who were like friends of F.O. Stanley who loved their vacation spot.
Right.
And are now like at their vacation spot for eternity. So, room 217 is where he stayed.
Is that the room number in the book too? Because I think in the movie it's 230 something.
Oh, right. 237 is what they use.
Yeah.
But 217 is where he stayed. Because it's like the front part of the one of the wings of the hotel. So, when Dumb and Dumber was filmed there.
It's just so stupid.
Jim Carrey is apparently a massive Stephen King fan.
Yeah, of course he is.
Yeah. So he wanted to stay in the same room because he had heard about how it inspired The Shining. According to the tour guides and the hotel, Jim Carrey did not last more than 3 hours before he was found in the hotel lobby demanding another hotel.
What?
And they were like, well, we can put you in another room. And he was like, no. Another hotel down the road. And so they put him in like the Holiday Inn, like half a mile down the road.
Oh my god.
He refused. And to this day, he won't tell anybody what happened.
Jim, we need to know.
The hotel suspects that he ran into Elizabeth.
Yeah. It had to be more than just Elizabeth.
Right?
Because I imagine if she's just dusting the place, like, there had to be more for him to be like, not another room, another hotel.
Right. Maybe he had a nightmare too. Because part of the nightmare that Stephen King had was about the fire hoses in the hallway wrapping and torturing his son and like squeezing him to death.
Yeah.
Which apparently parents, they've had to remove the hoses because parents would wrap up their children in them and take pictures.
Oh my gosh.
People are crazy.
Like, I don't like to judge, but man, I'm judging hard right now.
Yeah, if you're one of those parents, that was probably not the best idea.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
Anyway, so Jim Carrey won't talk about what happened.
Jesus.
It was very likely Elizabeth and or a nightmare. But yeah, he refused to stay in the hotel unless it was for filming.
That's insane. I'm surprised he actually filmed in there, too. I'm surprised he didn't because at that point when he was doing Dumb and Dumber, he was at the height of his stardom. So I'm surprised he didn't manage to figure out a way to get them out of that hotel.
Y'all, I get it. Hauntings are crazy. I came home to find out
Don't do it to me, don't.
So my apartment is a little haunted, but usually just likes to play with the oven, which is not great. But Jennifer told me some great news when I came home. What was this, Jennifer?
Okay, so I came to take care of the kitty and play with the kitty. I just wanted to look at the oven because I know. And so when I went to look at the oven, there were some washcloths on the actual burners. And I was like, that doesn't seem safe. So let me just move those to the side. And I completely forgot to text Sedina because right after that, Chainsaw came out and, Kitty, he just got us all wrapped up in him. So I forgot to tell Sedina that. And I told her that yesterday when we went out to lunch. And I was like, I just moved those. Yeah. And she was like, yeah, those weren't supposed to be there. They were not there at all. And so Sedina has this massive bookcase, y'all. She's got a lot of books. And she told me when I first started coming here, you told me that Chainsaw would like to push the books to the back of the wall. And so I noticed that the books were pushed to the back of the wall on the second to bottom row. And when I came in today, I noticed that the books were pushed back out. And I said, oh, Sedina, you fixed the shelf. And she's like, no. I was like, oh, well, this whole row was pushed in last week. And she's like, I didn't. She was like, I didn't need to know that.
No, So the bottom row is what Chainsaw will push back when he's playing or chasing something around, and he'll randomly push books back.
Yeah.
But Jennifer says the entire row above that was pushed all the way back, and I didn't bring them back up.
Yeah.
I didn't move them.
Yeah, they're moved now.
So that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Sedina said she was offended that someone messed with her books.
The oven concerns me because fire hazard, but don't touch my books. I'm so mad.
So yeah, there's that.
So, hauntings. Yeah. I get it, Jim. I really do. But I also had some experiences at the hotel with M. So when we first got our room key, the guy at the front desk was like, take the elevator up to the 3rd floor and it'll be on your left, the left hallway. So we get up to the 3rd floor, immediately get out of the elevator, and none of the room numbers are in order. They go from 302 to 340 something to 320 something. And we immediately knew we were screwed. Yeah. So we had to look at every door. And we go down the left hall and walk all the way down to the end of the hall. Didn't see the room, so we went back down and checked again, and then went down the right hall thinking we'd misheard. Didn't see it there, and we were like, that's weird, but if the numbers don't make sense, maybe it's on the 4th floor. So we went up and down a little bit to check some of the other doors, and they had the right numbers on them. And so we came back down, and there was a couple walking around, and they couldn't find their room. So we go, well, what room are you in? And they said 316, and well, we're in 318, right? That's what the paperwork says. Yeah. So okay, split up, let's look for each other's rooms, and if we find it, holler. I told M, wait here just in case. You have to call the front desk. So, or I get lost somehow. So I go back down the left hall where it should be, and I go so far as to leave through the emergency exit because I'm thinking that the hotel curves around. Right. And I just didn't notice another hall, but there's no other hall. So I'm out this door, and I was like, okay, well, let me go out the other way. So I go all the way back down to the right hall, go out that emergency exit, and there's still nothing. And I was like, I don't understand. Meanwhile, M is standing between 317 and 319, but there's no 318. It's just a table. Yeah. And I was like, well, is this our room? Yes. Do we live here now?
Welcome to table 318.
Right. So I was like, okay, I'm doing this one more time. So I go down the same freaking hallway I've been down twice now, and even left through the emergency door. And I noticed at the end of the hall, the lights are off, where there had been lights before. And so I get down to that hall, and on the right is 318, and across from it is 316. And I just stood there and stared at them. And to make sure I could see correctly. And then I hollered down the hall and I go, I found them! And everybody comes down, and I was like, we're in the vortex. That's what happened. Yeah. There's nothing here the last 2 times. Yeah. But now they are. Yeah. So good luck. And then we went into our hotel room. And was like, oh, I want to go hiking. And I was like, we'll never find our room again. Right, yeah. This is the one time we'll find it. Yes. But we never lost our room again. It was just very, okay, there was a part of me on the second time, when I left the emergency door, I remember standing there and thinking, is this part of the shtick? Did they give you a room that doesn't exist? And then you have to go back and they're like, haha, joke's on you.
I love that you went there. I really do.
Well, because there was another couple. Yeah. And I was like, how are there 4 people who can't read numbers on a door?
Your poor brain plays so many mind tricks on you.
It does. I'm constantly questioning my own reality. And also, we never saw that couple again, which was a little weird.
Well, they probably hijacked it out of there.
I mean, that is fair.
Because I would have. I would be like, can't find the room? No room? Okay, go to another hotel.
Yeah. Oh, shit. I wonder if that... Maybe they heard me scream, oh my god.
And they were like, we're
no.
done. We're done. We are out of here. They probably heard you scream, oh my god. And then they probably heard Em yelling, Sadina, Sadina. And like, we need to get out of here ASAP.
Right. Wow.
Oh my god.
So the first night we were there, you sleep with both windows open on the corner because of the beautiful breeze. But before we went to bed, there's this big pine tree outside of one of the windows, and we were in room 318 towards the back. And Em was like, oh, I really hope that like nothing gets in because the pine tree is really close. And I was like, yeah, I know that would suck. Well, that night I had a night terror that a big tarantula, like the size of my head, crawled in through the window. And it was a really bad night terror. I hate spiders. So I had that night terror. Yeah. Well, apparently I said stuff in my sleep that frightened Em, because it wasn't until the next morning when she was like, you talked last night. And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, I was falling asleep, you were lying in bed, and then you go, oh my god! And I looked over and I go, what, Sadina, what? And then she says, I just started snoring. She was so mad at me. Yeah. Because I sounded so scared. Which I probably was. I was probably seeing the spider in my head. Yeah. And then the second night when we were there, I was not sleeping well. I kept... So the hotel is old, but all of the floors are kind of wonky. Like everything feels like it's either dipping or shifted or at a bad angle. Em didn't feel it. I did. But even like in the bathroom, the tiles, the doors don't close all the way. Like they don't match the frame all the way. Everything is very wonky, which I think gives the illusion of why some people have these like haunting experiences or like really nervous at the hotel, because everything is very wonky. Also, there's all these weird optical illusions. The 4th floor hallway above us is narrower by a lot. And so it looks longer than the rest of the hallways. And then on that same floor, when you look down the stairwell, it looks like there's more floors to the stairs than there are until you get off the 4th floor, and then it looks normal. Very weird. Lots of visual illusions. Yeah. So that second night, wasn't feeling great, wasn't sleeping well because of probably all these like things kind of getting my equilibrium. And I was just falling asleep, and then I felt Chainsaw run up my side and jump over my head and kind of prance a bit and then flop down like he always does. And I laid there and I was like, oh, Chainsaw. And then I jackknifed up and went, oh my god, he's not here. No. And then I kind of sat there in the dark and thought, did a squirrel get in from the pine tree? Right. Are we about to have rabies? And so I kind of got up and looked around for this non-existent squirrel, and then tried to convince myself that somehow Em had like done it herself, which I still don't know how I tried to convince myself of that. So we had a ghost cat, and then I found out the next morning that there is a pet cemetery on the grounds. So ghost cat was very sweet, I think. Better than another ghost, I guess. Right. Just...
When she texted me that, I chose not to respond.
Yeah, a lot of people were like, no. Yeah. No, thanks.
That's a hard no for me.
Yeah, so we had a wild adventure. The vacation, the wedding, everything was quite dramatic too, but the hauntings were a little weird. The vortex, the ghost cat, the night terror. I didn't really think I sleep talked anymore, but apparently I do. And poor Em was like, I hate it. But it was good. I highly recommend going to the Stanley Hotel.
I don't.
Apparently 318. So also 318 is on the exact opposite end of the hotel from 217. So, you know, you're safe-ish. You just have a ghost cat who was very sweet and very friendly.
You didn't tell me about the other couple, and that's hilarious.
Yeah, because I was like, then a part of me was like, is this also part of the shtick? Right. They make you think that, like, you're lost? Yeah. And then I thought about it, and I was like, they don't have that kind of time in their day to be like, let's play a trick on everyone who comes through
Right,
here.
They're not Disney.
No, they don't. And that's not to say that, like, the people who worked there were rude. They were super nice. Yeah. Everyone there was so lovely, so nice. Em says I was flirted with in the hotel bar. I don't think so.
I think so.
But everybody was very sweet. Everybody who works there was just a treat. But yeah, they definitely don't have the time to be playing tricks on people like me.
Yeah, because I remember you texted me and you said it was just so busy in there at times.
Okay, so now we are going to talk a little bit about the cultural impact that The Shining has had on everything. Yeah. Honestly. The Shining Shining was written by Stephen King in 1977 and was published by Doubleday. It was a movie only 3 years later in 1980, directed by Stanley Kubrick. The Simpsons was the first cultural impact that I thought of because I feel like the Treehouse of Horror #5, where Homer is doing basically the entire shtick. It was the whole movie in a little, 7-minute take. There was the bar scene, which, side note, the whiskey bar is amazing at the Stanley. There's no ghost there as far as I know. Just very, very nice waiters and waitresses. There's the Here's Johnny scene where he cuts through with the axe through the door. The no TV, no beer makes Homer something. And then Marge says, go crazy. And he goes, don't mind if I do. So all of that, like, it was just the whole spiel. The blood coming out of the elevator. All of it, The Simpsons took. But there's also very iconic scenes that have become tropes in of themselves. The axe through the door, clearly. That's in quite a bit.
Yeah.
Here's Johnny. That gets played a lot. Not just Here's Johnny, but Here's so-and-so.
Yeah.
Family Guy did the twins at the end of the hall, which I think is the 4th floor hall, because that's the one that looks the narrowest and the longest. I think that was the hall. Red Rum showing up in, like, kids' blocks or, in the smoke of mirrors and things. Apparently, in The Office, Dwight says, he makes a comment about Michael being a dull boy. Gosh. Daria, in one of her episodes, they drive by a hotel that looks like the Overlook, and she, like, makes her little finger go red rum, and I think that, too, like, the finger, like, talking for the person is very tropey in a lot of places. And then this one, I didn't notice, but I'm gonna have to go, well, I'm not gonna go back and watch it. Coco makes me cry. But in the movie Coco, very recently, in one of the halls of all the paintings and the skeletons, there's the twins.
Oh!
Right!
Okay.
Yeah, I did not notice that, and it'll be a while before I look at that again, because Coco is very sad to me.
I mean, I'll watch it because I like to cry, so I'll watch it and I'll tell you. I have another one that you didn't mention.
Which one?
So in Toy Story, I can't remember if it's 1 or 2, the carpet in the bully's house is the same carpet from the Overlook.
Really?
Yeah. I saw that and I was like, that's weird that Pixar put that in there, but okay.
I mean, I get it though, because that kid was very intense.
Yeah, that kid was really intense. I can't even remember his name.
I don't think that was right, but something weird.
Something weird, yeah. So we've gone through the cultural, and I told Sedina, if we have room, we're gonna do this. Because when I was looking up The Shining, which you might have figured out, we're not actually talking about The Shining here.
Right.
When I was looking it up, I was like, I found this article on Sci-Fi that had like the 5 best conspiracy theories regarding The Shining. And number 5 was Stanley Kubrick's face is in the clouds of one shot. And I'm going to show Sedina my laptop so she can see it. But I see his face. No one, and they said that they couldn't, but I see it right there, clear as day. I don't know if you can see it.
No, I don't see it.
See, this is so weird. I see his face.
I mean, I see clouds.
Yeah. No, I see his, like a little thing of his face right here. I mean,
I'm definitely not one of those kids though that was able to play the cloud game.
I mean, I couldn't do Magic Eye, but I could do the cloud game. And I wish I would have had more time to kind of like talk about it, but like we mentioned, we've been reading a lot of books for our Fright Bites in October, so this one said The Shining is about the Holocaust. And it says one of Kubrick's great abandoned projects was Aryan Papers, which the filmmaker hoped would be a sweeping look at the Holocaust. It never got off the ground. People believe that The Shining was in its own way a commentary on the Nazis' evil. Several references made to the number 42, and Jack Harper is supposedly being German.
I feel like some of those things are like stretches.
When I was reading this, it kind of reminded me of the documentary on the Cecil Hotel and all the conspiracy theories that people just floated with. The third one is The Shining is a commentary on the genocide of the Native American people. And the point that they are referring to, long before Room 237, he was arguing his case in the press, this reporter for ABC News, and pointing to repeated references to the Calumet Baking Powder Company. A calumet is a peace pipe, and suggesting that the river of blood spewing from the elevator comes from the land slaughtered Native people, which that's a stretch. And another one is the movie tells a story of the Minotaur, a former killing the latter, which...
I mean, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. So that was interesting. And then the number one that I think everyone has heard of is the movie is an apology for Kubrick staging the moon landing. That was the one I knew of because people always said that he did it. I was like, okay.
I had not heard that before. That's... Wow. Okay.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, if you want to look at that, it's on, just Google sci-fi, The Shining conspiracies, and you'll find it. It gave me great joy to look through those.
Well, and that's the fun thing too about conspiracies, is that sometimes you're like, okay. And then other times you're like, this is a slippery slope.
Yeah.
People...
Yeah.
What is it that, like, if you believe one conspiracy theory, you're more likely to continue believing more and more?
Yeah.
The more absurd they get, which is how things like QAnon and the sci-fi religion.
Oh, Scientology?
Yes, Scientology. Like, it starts off, like, really, like, small and, like, something that a lot of people could agree on.
Yeah.
And then you get to, like, space aliens and, like, whatever, like, crazy banana stuff. So, not to be offensive to anybody, but
right.
Yeah, I mean, there are absolutely conspiracies I believe in.
Yeah.
But
these were not it.
Right, no, I still have my limit. So as we wrap this up, we are kind of giving this Fright Bite, one, because it fit really well into the fact that I was going to the Stanley Hotel, and then we bookended it with Joe Hill King type stuff. But look forward to October, where we are fairly ambitious in our 31 Days of Horror, and they will also be Fright Bites. So they will be released every day through October, and they will be shorter episodes. So instead of 2 big ones, you'll get lots of, like, little itty bitty.
And we will post the reading list before. So if you want to read along and listen, you can do that too.
Yes. You can get them, a lot of them, through your local library.
Which is what we did.
Yep. I own maybe half the list. And the other half I had to get from the library. But we hope you really enjoy it.
Yes, it's going to be so much fun.
So much fun. There's a wide range of horror that we're making our way through. Like, I mean, everything from out-of-body experience to psychopaths to vampires and old gods. And it's just, there's a lot.
There's so much. Yeah. Alrighty, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye. If you liked listening to us ramble on about horror, subscribe to our podcast and tell your friends. And if you would like to follow us on social media, you can find us on Instagram or Facebook at LLOTL Podcast.
Check out our website by going to lastlibraryontheleft.com. Be sure to visit our About Us page to discover our 2 truths and a lie. Or, if you'd like to send us an email, you can reach us at somethingwicked@lastlibraryontheleft.com.